Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about something that happens in a number of different crops, mainly grass crops. We're talking about tillering.
Well, in broadleaf crops, and broadleaf weeds, I should say, when we're trying to kill a broadleaf weed, we want to get it when it's 2 inches tall, maybe 4 inches tall. Otherwise, there get to be lots of growing points on it. And it makes sense to everybody. Oh, yeah, a big 12-inch tall weed, that's going to be tough to control. But tillering on grasses doesn't seem quite so scary, Brian. It's still short. It just got a little wider.
Yeah, so basically what happens is there's another plant growing right next to your plant. So it's this phenomenon we call tillering. And we're going to see it in wheat, in corn, and a lot of these grass crops or grass weeds, especially as we progress through the growing season. So this is why, to Darren's point, we want to kill weeds when they're really small before they get to a tillering stage.
Well, I think about it in corn, which is a grass crop. And when corn puts tillers on, man, does it shade out the competition. And it sucks in all kinds of water and lots of nutrients. So it makes sense that when I see a grassy weed start to tiller out, it's going to be even more of a problem for our crops.
So the whole thing with tillers, if we're talking about crops, a lot of people ask us, well, hey, I've got a corn plant and it's got a tiller next to it. What's going on here? Isn't that hurting the yield? So what we find is that tiller is growing and it later on can produce energy for the main ear of the main plant. It also could put on an ear on its own. So it's not always a good thing, not always a bad thing. It's just a thing.
Yeah, so when we talk about tillers, it's just kind of interesting as you look at a wheat crop, for example. We may have a goal of, hey, I'd like to see 6 to 10 tillers on every plant out there so I get all these different heads coming, which can be a good thing. It can also be a negative thing if those heads are maturing at different times and you're trying to protect them from disease, as we'll talk about later this show. But there are good things about tillers. There can be bad. And when it comes to weeds, that's when I think about it. Once you see that grassy weed start to tiller, it's that much harder to get it under control. So we definitely want to see using pre-emerge herbicides when you can, spraying these weeds when they're really small. That's really important. And for the crops, when they've got a tiller on them, does it mean more yield? Does it mean less yield? Not really. But it sure could be something. If you can feed that crop, it's just going to need more water and more nutrients.
So the reason why we're talking about this today is during our Farm Basics time, we always try to take something that we commonly deal with as farmers and try to explain it to you if you're a young farmer or a non-farmer. So the next time you are out in a field and you see one plant, but kind of shooting off it is another plant, that's probably a tiller that you're looking at.
Well, fortunately, our Weed of the Week doesn't have tillers, but this one can be difficult to control. Can you identify this week's weed?